welcome to the first episode of Recipes with Rebecca, where we're gonna actually make something! Hooray! I'm Rebecca Farnham, this is Recipes with Rebecca, and welcome to the episode on crepes slash pancakes slash eggy things. These are inspired by something that my boyfriend Kevin's family calls Grandma's Pancakes, which is a family favorite, particularly for long holidays at the beach house and that kind of thing. But they're also very similar to what are just called pancakes in Europe, and they're much more crepe-like from what an American would call them generally. So I tend to call them crepes because I prepare them in ways that aren't exactly kosher in Grandma Dean's family, because I put things other than lemon and sugar in them, which is how they eat them. So speaking of which, I currently have on the stove a bit of a fruit compote. Fruit compote is one of those things that sounds much more sophisticated and scary than it actually is. I threw frozen strawberries and raspberries in a pan with some orange pineapple juice drink that we had left over from a party and put the heat on, and I'm letting it sit and boil. And by the time that we're done with all of the pancakes, it will be like a delightful goo and super delicious to eat in the pancakes slash crepes slash whatever. And they were frozen because they were about to go bad. So this is one of my favorite ways to use fruit that is like not quite moldy but threatening to, and you like just don't really want to eat it right then, so you just throw it in the freezer as it is. You don't have to do anything to it. And then whenever you're feeling like cooking, you just throw it on the stove with juice or water and sugar or whatever you feel like. You literally can't screw this up. Like really you can't. Put whatever fruits in that you want. Throw some blueberries in there, apples, pears, anything, doesn't matter. Put it in the pot, throw some kind of liquid in, just to help it really defrost at the beginning, to give something to boil right away, and then eventually the fruit will just kind of start boiling its own self. Okay, so onto the pancake crepe thing itself. You will need roughly 2 eggs. This is on a ratio basis, I should say. So really, you need eggs and flour and milk. Period, the end. Except not period, the end, because I never use milk. I don't drink milk. I don't believe in calcium. I'm terrible about my bones. So I like to bake with skimmed milk. It's dried milk. Sorry, that was British. Dried milk, because it's just easier to store than like milk when you don't drink it. So yeah, I throw all this on my baking. The ratio, if you're being exact, is 2 eggs to 1 cup flour to 1 cup milk. But I'm Becca and I don't believe in exactness nor measuring. So basically, throw 2 eggs in a pan or bowl, put in about a cup. I never measure, I just put things in, and I also like my crepes really thin, and particularly really thin, so the way to do that is to have a really thin batter. So here we go. I have to confess that I pre-mixed the batter because I'm trying to keep this relatively short. I'm sorry, I don't do it all the time. And then turn a pan on, some kind of circular pan usually is easiest. You can do a pot if that's all you have, doesn't matter, or a flat griddle, anything. Throw a little bit of oil and or butter on. And you can do this 2 ways. You can do kind of a minimal amount of butter or oil that's really just to keep the crepe and or pancake from sticking. Or you can do kind of more oil and have the crepe actually cook in the oil, which will give it a more oily texture. Haha. I tend to like them more when they're cooked in the oil instead of like on the pan. But however you want, however much oil you have, however healthy you're feeling at the moment. And then just throw some batter on. If you have like some kind of pour fat thing, that would probably be easier to pour, because this isn't a super easy batter to like spoon like you would with American thick pancakes. But if you're spooning it, just make a mess, who cares? You will know that the crepe is ready to flip when it's like looks cooked and isn't liquidy on the top. There's not a good way to do this. This is why professional cooking shows like have camera angles. Okay, so there's our crepe sitting on there. If it's not wiggling when you wiggle the pan on top, that means like, you know, it's pretty much cooked through. So then you can just quickly flip it over with whatever kind of spatula or fork or knife that you have. And then it is done when you can shake the pan and it comes off naturally. So right now it's still kind of sticking to the pan. So we're gonna leave it for another minute and give our little fruit thing bob ding a little stir. It's coming along very happily. We have frothy redness. Don't let it boil over, but other than that, you can just kind of ignore the fruit and occasionally stir it when you're bored. That's totally fine. And now our crepe is wiggling around nicely. So we're gonna pull it off. Ooh, we're gonna make a mess doing so. I tend to like completely screw up and fold over the first couple that I make in every batch. Ta-da, a pancake. Throw it on a plate. Throw another bit of batter on. These are very nice at Sunday brunch because you can make them savory or sweet. So you can easily throw some, say, sauteed spinach with mushrooms and feta in the crepe, or Nutella and strawberries, or Nutella and bananas, or just cut up apples that haven't been cooked with cinnamon, or really anything else that you want, up to including scrambled eggs, right? So if you don't really want an omelet and you don't really just want eggs, but anything else seems too much complicated, make a crepe and then use the rest of the batter to just scramble, like the rest of the eggs, just scramble and throw the scrambled eggs in with some cheese into the crepe, and you have, like, you know, a happy little cheesy pancake thing. So the point is really any kind of topping that you want. And gradually these will become more and more perfectly circular as you go. This isn't really an experience thing, this is like an experience at the moment thing. My first 2 or 3 are always completely screwed up, and then they get better as the batter goes. And then by the time I have like the perfect, beautiful circle, the batter's gone, of course. Yeah, so that's the crepes. Hannah from Mount Pleasant requested how to do those, so there you go, Hannah. Hopefully that's easy enough. 2 eggs, cup of milk, cup of flour, relatively, and then just throw it on some meat. It's really not complicated.